Alright, so this is a video I've been meaning to get to, and this was voted on my Patreon page. So, as always, if you would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys, for the first tier, you guys can also join in the polls if you just want to do that, and also check out the movie reviews whenever I put those on there. Because I do streaming. If I see a movie I like on streaming, I will do it there. And if it's a movie, like a theatrical movie, I'll put it on Patreon. Sorry, it's been a long day. Anyway, so this poll came out a few weeks ago, and I've been meaning to get to it. It's just been I've been busy, and also I've been kind of forgetting about it personally. But here we are. So this is basically came out of a poll that I did a while back. After reading Punisher, King of Killers, I basically was talking about, like, hey, what would you guys like to see in terms of a Punisher crossover? And this one, it was actually kind of close among them. And this one won by 36% of the vote, being Black Lagoon. The two runner-ups were the anime Jormungandr and Silent Hill, which honestly a Punisher Silent Hill or Punisher Jormungandr crossover would be kind of badass, let's be real. So this story takes place, if you're wondering if this takes place with like Jason Aaron's like ninja Punisher, no, this is kind of its own continuity. We're dealing with its own continuity right now. So let's get started. So this story is that Hotel Moscow has been hearing rumors that someone new has come to Roanoke, a new pusher and shaker in town, and someone they didn't want to show up. That person is Billy Russo, aka Jigsaw. And Jigsaw has basically been making a massive play in Roanoke to take up as much territory as he can. He's also been working with he's also been kind of forcing Mr. Chang from the Chinese Triad to back him up because he has dirt on him. And by dirt, I mean he has his illegitimate daughter in hand. Like, he knows, like, hey, you do anything, I'm gonna fucking kill her. So Jigsaw is now at the Chinese Triad backing, is just tearing ass through Roanoke, and he's trying to become like he's basically like, look, Fisk has New York, he's got a huge criminal empire, but I always wanted my own little slice of heaven. And you know, where everyone says Roanoke is like the next shithole next to is the next big shithole next to Mandrapore. But in Mandrapore, I don't have to deal with a guy with metal claws. So guess what? I guess I'm taking Roanoke. And Roanoke has been like, we don't want your kind here. And he's like, my kind? I'm a gangster like you. And he's like, yeah, but you know who follows you? And he's coming. We know he's gonna show up. We've been doing our damnedest to keep him especially out of this city. And of course, it's Frank Castle. They've been trying really hard to stay out of Frank's radar, and even Frank in his war journal says, I never wanted to come to Roanoke. Mandrapore I can deal with, at least like it's a controlled shithole, but Roanoke was like, I know when a lost cause when I see it. Like, I know, like, people would say, like, Frank, why don't you go to Roanoke and just exterminate all the people there? And he's like, there's too many cockroaches for one exterminator, and sometimes you just gotta know when to abandon the house. That's been why Frank never went to Roanoke before, is because he knows that, like, fighting in Roanoke would be a pointless fucking game. It would be there's no point to it. Like, I could fight there for hours and I would either get killed or I would do nothing and just make a power vacuum and just more people. We'd be more like I kill one nest and more cockroaches come out of another nest. So, but however, when he heard that Jigsaw had shown up in Roanoke, he's like, this might be my one shot to get Billy. He's been evading me for years, and he thinks that going to Roanoke is gonna save him. But Russo is not gonna get away with this. He is not like if I like he can. He thinks if he stays a Roanoper, he'll be safe from me, because he knows I won't cross. He thinks I won't cross into here. Well, he made that mistake. So now Punisher, Frank Castle, is in Roanoper, and he shows up at the Yellowtail Bar, and he shows up in a trench coat, and they're like, some guys try to accost him, and they're like, "Hey, nerd, move! That's my seat, bitch!" And Punisher's just like, "The one thing I like about this city, I'm not gonna feel bad about what I'm about to do to it." And he just whips out the handguns and starts firing, and he reveals the skull on his shirt, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, that's the Punisher!" And a firefight ensues. The bar is totally wrecked, and Punisher kills everyone except the bartender, of course, in the bar, and he leaves. He leaves in a blaze. And of course, Hotel Moscow shows up the next day, and they're just like, Frank Castle is in our city. We didn't want this. So now it's so at this point, this is when the Lagoon Company shows up, because Revy's like, holy shit, the Punisher. I have she talks about like how she's always wanted to kill the Punisher, because he's like he's like a boogeyman to the criminal underworld. And she goes, if I can put a bullet in Frank Castle's head, I will be a fucking legend. Meanwhile, Dutch is like, trust me, he's a lot harder to kill. And this is where in this part of the story where we talk about, like, because Dutch was a Vietnam veteran, same as Frank, is that Frank and Dutch's companies were on a joint operation in Khe Sanh, and they fell under attack. Dutch actually saved Frank from bleeding out after being shot in the stomach. So he carried him for about a mile, and Dutch basically talks about, like, the whole time I carried Frank Castle, I knew one thing. That man was too angry to die. You can't kill a hate, and he says, you cannot kill a kind of hatred that Frank Castle has. So that's how it is. And Punisher's, of course, doing recon, and when he sees Dutch, he's like, hell. So Punisher sets up a meeting between him and Dutch, and he just tells him, like, look, Dutch, I appreciate what you did to me, but you're criminal scum now, and this is a courtesy. Stay out of this, let me get Jigsaw, and I will leave. Get in my way, and you're fucking dead. That's how clear I'm going to be here. So Punisher leaves, and unfortunately the Lagoon Company has already taken a job from Jigsaw. Remember, they're not exclusive to Hotel Moscow. So Jigsaw offers them a shit ton of money, and he goes, Revy, I got a job for you. I hear you're the best gunman in town. Go kill Punisher. So we lead to a fight between Punisher and Revy, and they go at it. Like, if you thought Roberta and Revy's fight was bad, it is 10 times worse here. Like, it is just a knockdown, drag-out bloodbath between the two, until eventually, like, Punisher and Revy's gunfight goes into a draw, and that's when Punisher realizes, I know what that motherfucker's doing. And he sees Russo, like, fleeing this, like, his scarred fat ass fleeing the scene and into the open ocean. He's like, you motherfucker, this was all a distraction. And that's what, at that time, when Punisher's about to give chase to Jigsaw, that's when Hotel Moscow shows up and tells Frank, Mr. like, Bella Lyka shows up and is like, Mr. Castle, nice of you to meet us. We were just wondering if we could escort you out of the city. And he's like, I'm leaving. You are letting Jigsaw get away. And he's like, well, you did cause us a lot of damage, to our city in your little rampage. Because during that time when Punisher was looking for Jigsaw, he had torn Roanoper apart. Like, he had just straight up ripped the city a new asshole in the entire time he was there. So it was just a total bloodbath in that whole time frame. So as kind of a bitch move, Bella Lyka and Hotel Moscow hold up Punisher just long enough to let Jigsaw get away. It's just to dig the knife into Frank Castle. So now he has to continue his search all over again to finally put an end to Jigsaw. So, yeah, by the end of it, they let Punisher go, and he's like, I wish I could drop a nuke on this fucking city. I really do. Next time, when I the next time I steal one of Stark's armors, this will be stop number 1. So there you go, guys. That is the My Punisher Black Lagoon crossover. I'd like to thank everyone for voting on this story. And you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? Like it, hate it, comment below, let me know. Like I said before, if you'd like to join in on all these poll votings, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, and just hit the first tier. That's only $5 a month. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.